Welcome to the Dominion House Church, a viral disciple-making movement with a mandate to raise world-class leaders. We believe everyone has the seed of greatness within and has the potential to rise against all odds to fulfill his God-ordained destiny. The message you're about to listen to will empower you for greatness and set you on the path of purpose and significance. Stay empowered as you listen to Pastor Vincent Arifalo, a seasoned teacher and preacher of God's Word with a passion for helping believers grow and raising disciples.
So who can remind us of the last thing we said? What was the last point I made? All right. Analyze, think, pray. Awesome. Think, analyze, pray. All right. Weigh out the pros and the cons. What are the advantages and the disadvantages? All right. Before we take actions. All right. Action without planning is a reason for every failure. Action without planning is the reason for every failure. All right. Now let's talk about planning a little bit more. You see, planning increases your probability for success. Planning increases your probability for success. All right. Almost every one of your most successful accomplishments in your life, all right, the projects you do, all the things you do, you'll find that they came because you took time to plan. After God gave you the idea, now you need to sit down. God is not going to be the one to plan the idea for you. All right. God is not going to be, give you a mind. Someone said God gave you a mind so you can give him rest. After he has given you that vision, after he has given you that vision to start that business, you have to be the one to plan. You have to be the one to sit down, analyze, think through. If you need to assemble a team to help you think through, all right, then you have to do it. Or else you'll be wasting resources, or else you'll be wasting time, wasting resources. Why? Because you have not done your own part. God has done his own part, but you have not done your own part. So you have to do your own part of thinking through, planning, thinking on every detail, all right, examining everything closely so that you can know so you can chart the cause, all right? Listen to this, something I wrote down. It says, the fact is that the better, the more complete your plans are before you begin. Listen. All right, the better and the more complete your plans are before you begin, the greater will be the likelihood of your success once you start. Oh wow, that's huge. That's huge. All right? It's called advanced planning. The better, the more complete your plans are before you begin, the greater will be your likelihood of success once you start. So I'm saying the same thing again and again in a different way. So success is tons of discipline, all right? Discipline of making a complete plan before you start. It doesn't mean, when I say complete plan, I don't mean that you have everything figured out, because if you try to work that way, you would have what is called analysis paralysis. But at least do everything possible. You know what I'm saying? At that point in time, to launch out. Do you know what I'm saying? Do everything, do your research, do all the thinking, ask questions and all that. Not with a goal of not doing it, but with a goal of, let me do everything that I need to do to get started. All right? So the more complete your plans are before you begin, the greater will be the likelihood of your success. But anyhow, you have to move. So there's a balance of planning and action. Some people plan, and never act. Others act. This is an important point, please. Some act and make tons of mistakes because they don't plan. There has to be a balance of planning and acting. Planning and acting well balanced. Planning and acting well balanced. All right, not just plan, no action, or not just act, no planning. A balance of planning and action. So I plan and I act, and I plan and I act, and I make course corrections as I go ahead. As I'm moving, I'm making course corrections. You find the things that seem not to be working well. You make adjustments, all right, but anyhow, you have to move. All right? So, someone calls it the 1,000% return on investments. It says the payoff for good planning is enormous. It is estimated that each minute spent in planning will save you 10 minutes in execution. Very powerful thoughts. The payoff from good planning is enormous. All right. Each minute spent in planning saves you 10 minutes in execution. Each minute spent in planning saves you 10 minutes in execution. Very powerful. Each minute, write that down, everybody. Each minute you spend in planning will save you 10 minutes in execution. All right. So it means that one of the major reasons people waste time is that they don't plan. There are people that are action oriented, just action, 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 and action. They waste a lot of time because they make a lot of mistakes. All right. So you've got to be a planner. You must be planning all the time, planning all the time, planning all the time. All right. For you to be successful. All right. So let's go on to the next point. Every minute spent in planning will save you 10 minutes in execution. Very, very important. All right. Number 8. All right. So the next point is this. Neatness is very important. Neatness is an important habit. All right. As simple as that is, neatness has an effect on your self-esteem. The neater you are, the more you respect yourself. The more respect you have for yourself. All right. Brian Tracy says, stand back and evaluate yourself. All right. Stand back and look at your work area, look at your environment, and ask yourself, what kind of person works at this desk? Stand back from your table, stand back from your work area, and ask yourself, what kind of person, really, let me be objective about myself. What kind of person works in this area? Do you know what I'm saying? Right? Because when you clear your environment, when you make your environment neat, it gives you a sense of being in control. It gives you a sense of peace. All right? And that's why I always say that work from a clear table. That is, before you start working, clear your environment, clear your table. You find that automatically your mind is clearer. You feel in control. You feel better. Right? Neatness is a very key habit of personal productivity. You can dramatically increase your productivity and your output by simply cleaning up and organizing your workplace. All right? It says order is heaven's first law. It is also the earth's first law. Order, 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 order. Right? So neatness. Neatness. Throw out things that you don't need. All right? As simple as that is, throw out the things that you don't need. People make the excuse that, you see, some people that are melancholics, they say everything is all over the place, everything is jumbled, but they tell you, I know where everything is. Do you know people like that? Or are you one of them? Is anyone that had that mindset? Or that has that mindset that when everything is jumbled up, or someone says I'm faint. All right? Treasure said I'm like that. So, some people say that everything is jumbled all over the place, but I know where everything is. But the truth is that you are wasting a lot of time, looking for things, finding things, using your brain. It's like wasting your mind to know where all those things are. Whereas there are things, it looks like, listen to this. When it comes to time management, using your mind a lot does not mean that you are more effective. Using your mind to know where things are, all right? And that's the same reason I'm going to talk about writing things down and writing a to-do list. People that use their mind a lot to try to figure things out, but that don't take time to either write things down or to put things where they're supposed to be. To be disorganized is to put one thing in two places. The moment you put one thing in two places, you are disorganized. Or you put two things in one place. Putting one thing in two places or two things in one place. That's what it means to be disorganized. Putting one thing in two places or putting two things in one place means you are now a disorganized person, or you are disorganized in that area of your life. All right. So very important to be able to put one thing in one place. All right. And stop giving excuses for having a rough desk or having a disorganized desk, workplace. All right. So you clean your desk, assemble everything you need. All right. Handle each piece of paper one time. So you make a decision when you handle a piece of paper or a piece of material. You decide what you are going to do with that piece of material. Do you understand what I'm saying? You either throw it away, or you do something about it, or you hand it over to somebody to act on. But you need to constantly clear your environment. Don't allow things to pile up. Right? Or it gives you that sense of not being in charge. It gives you that sense of not being in charge. All right? Now, let me talk about the next key. I think that'll be number 9. Number 9. All right. Priority. Learning to manage your time well means that you understand priorities. So the next key is understand the power of priorities. Understand that not everything is equally important. That is huge. I'm not sure there's anything bigger than understanding priority or priorities when it comes to time when it comes to time management. All right. Understand priorities. That means that not all things are equally important. Some things are more important than others. Some things are more important than others. Very, very important key. All right. Or let me reorganize it. Let me talk about time management tools before I talk about priority, because they're closely related. They're different, but they're closely related. All right. So let's put at number 9 now. Let's put use time management tools. So there are 2 points I'm trying to make now. So use time management tools. We're talking about keys to managing your time well. Use time management tools. And I want to talk about, okay, let me mention a few of them. Time management tools are mainly lists. Lists. There's what is called the master to-do list. There's what is called the daily to-do list. All right. Of course, you can have other kinds of lists. You can have a weekly to-do list. All right. But there's a master to-do list. A good way to do it is that anytime an idea comes to your mind about what you want to do, write it on a master list. Now, from your master list, you can organize it and put it in your weekly to-do list. That is, at the beginning of every week, you can write out all the things you want to do. Then you can now organize it into your daily to-do list. Now, when it comes to time management, the daily to-do list is the biggest tool for time management. You need to write that down. When it comes to time management, the daily to-do list is the biggest tool to time management. The biggest tool to time management is your daily to-do list. The more you use it, the more effective you'll be. All right. It was Winston Churchill that called it. He called it actions this day. Winston Churchill called it actions this day. That is the things I want to do today. You know, Winston Churchill was an action-oriented man, but he was also an organized man. So he calls it actions this day. But I call it the to-do list, the daily to-do list. Now listen, the daily to-do list is a massive tool of time management. Massive, as simple as it is. It's very, very simple. That is, everything you want to do in a day must be written out. Are you still there? Everything you want to do in a day must be written out. Everything you want to do in a day must be clearly written out. All right? Everything you want to do in a day. Never ever start your day. Write this down. Never ever start your day without a daily to-do list. Never ever start your day. Never rush into your day. Let your daily to-do list be what guides your day. It doesn't mean that there's no room for flexibility, but having a list gives you a sense of order, gives you a sense of control, puts you in charge. Never rush into your day. Go into your day with what you want to do clear in your mind, so that, you see, many people live in that state of being confused. They're not sure what they're going to do next. And if you ask them, what are you doing now, they can't really tell you, because they're constantly in a state of confusion. So you don't want to be in a state of confusion. You want to be in a state of clarity, where everything is just clear. You know exactly what you are doing per time. You know what is the most important thing for you to do at this time, and you are moving on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. All right? So always work from that list. You will be tempted many times to work without the list. You'll be tempted to just work from your mind. Never work from your mind. Never say, I know what I'm going to do. I know the most important thing I'm going to do today. I'll just do them. All right? That way, you are going to miss out some other important things. And if you're not careful, if you don't work with a list, you would always do things that you like doing. You'll always do the things that you love doing. You will leave out the things that you should do that you don't like doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right? Never rush into your day. Never start your day without a to-do list. Very, very important. Very, very important. The to-do list will organize your life, will help you to work better. It's usually better to write your to-do list the previous day before you go to bed. All right? So that those things are already in your consciousness or in your subconscious mind as your day goes on. Do you understand? All right, the next key is the word priority. Once you begin to develop the habit of writing things down and using your to-do list, the next thing is priority. Priority. That is, you need to organize your list by priority. That is, not everything is equally important. Not everything is equally important. Some things are more important than others. Some things are more important than others. You need to write that down. Some things are more important than others. And the principle is to always do the things that are most important before the things that are less important. Always do the things that are more important before the things that are less important, because everything is not equally important. Some things are more important than others. Some things are more important than others. That's why that's a very big word in time management. That is, you now organize your list based on priorities, based on the level of importance. Right? So it means that there are things you would do more of. There are things that you would do less of. All right? So your to-do list becomes your blueprint for your day. You are moving from the most important things to the less important things. All right? Someone said that success is a process of diverting one's scattered forces into one powerful channels. That's so powerful. Success is what? The process of diverting one's scattered forces into one powerful channel. You want to divert all your scattered forces. You don't want to be scattered. Come on, say with me on the chat group, make a confession. I am not scattered, I am organized. All right? And I work by priorities. I am organized, I'm not scattered. So success is a process of diverting one's scattered forces into one powerful channel. All right, all your scattered forces, scattered energy, scattered resources, bring everything together. Bring everything together. In the same way, you see, every time when you look at your wardrobe and everything is all over the place, it looks like you feel overwhelmed. But when you begin to arrange it and put it together, it seems like suddenly you have more power, you have more control, and you feel good. All right, so instead of being scattered, you organize things by priority. That's what I'm saying. Of course, let's remember that I said your purpose is the most important thing in your life. So your purpose helps you to organize and let you know what is most important. Your purpose in life, things that are directly related to your purpose should be given priority over things that are less directly related to your purpose. Can you hear me? Is that clear to you? All right. So again, in organizing your priorities, you need to look at your values. I didn't even know I will say so much today. I was planning to just do like 1 hour, but we've done well over 1 hour now. Okay, so your values talk about the things that are most important to you. In setting your priorities and in organizing your day, you need to know what your values are. Your values talk about the things that are most important to you. All right, your values talk about the things that are most important to you. The things that are most important to you. All right. The reason why people are unhappy is that they're spending their prime time on things that are not important to them. They're spending prime time, important time, on things that are not so important. For example, I always tell women, cooking is not the most important thing, except your career is to be a cook. Cleaning the house is not the most important thing, except it's your career or business to cook, to clean the house. Of course, it can be. I don't think anybody is called to clean their houses. All right. All right. So you need to look at, things that other people can do. I'm going to talk about delegation later on, or as we move on. All right. And I need to move faster now. So very, very important. Very, very important. Very, very important to understand your priorities and your values. Your values determine your priorities. All right, your values determine your priorities. Now, there's an exercise that I always do. You may do it in your own free time. I say family, health, or business, or career. Which one is most important? In fact, you can do it here. You can do it as we go on. You can post on the group. Family, health. So there are three things: family, health, business, and career. Which one is? Arrange them in order of importance. We're talking about your values now. Family, health, or business. Business/career. Family, health. Then number 3, business/career. Number 1, family. Number 2, health. Number 3, business or career. Which one will you arrange them in the order of priority? Will you arrange them in the order of priority? We're still talking about priority. Now, in managing your time and in understanding priorities, you must be able to separate the urgent things from the important things. Separate urgent things from important things. Separate urgent things from important things. Some things are important, some things are urgent. And let me look for the best way to explain this is to use the time management matrix. Are you still following me? Or have you gone home? Are you still there or you've gone home? All right, so you can do that exercise: health, family, business. All right, I can see treasure zone. Yours is health number 1, family, and business. You see all these things, they help you organize in your mind. All right, if you say health is your most important priority, then that means in planning your time and doing your daily to-do list, then health must be given priority. If you say it's family, then family must be given priority. If it's business, then business must be given priority. Because as Christians, that one is undisputable. As a believer, your spiritual life should be the top of your priority, no matter the way you want to arrange these other ones. Your walk with God, your purpose, your destiny, you understand, that kind of thing, must be given first place and priority. Your ministry, your calling, and all those things must be given the first place. All these other things should be secondary. Should be second. All right? Praise God. So separate the urgent from the important. Urgent things are usually not important things. Urgent things are things that breathe down your neck. They demand for your attention now. They demand that you attend to them now. But then they're usually not important. Now, what determines how important something is the consequence of not doing it. And let me say this: something that is important is something that has serious potential consequences for not doing it or for doing it. All right? For example, now, when it comes to keeping your health, most people say, yes, I want to live a healthy, I want to live till 90, I want to live to 100, but yet they have done nothing. They don't exercise daily, they don't watch their diet, they take a lot of sugar, a lot of salt, a lot of carbohydrates of high glycemic index. All right, and they say, I want to live long. All right, something is really important to you when you understand that it has serious potential consequences for not doing it. All right. Now, important tasks by nature are things that it is very easy to put them off or to procrastinate on them. For example, planning your business or planning your time or planning your life. It is usually easy for you to put them off. And I think the best way to explain this thing is to use the time management matrix. All right, time management matrix. That's what is called the time management matrix that Stephen Covey put together. The time management matrix helps you to just have a good picture of these principles. Stephen Covey's time management matrix. Study, think about it, and it will help you to have a graphic picture of how to manage your time. There are 4 quadrants there. We're still talking about priority. I said we're taking time on this one, and this may be where we would end, but let's see how far we can go. All right, but the topic of priority, or the subtopic of priority, is the biggest topic when it comes to managing your time. I posted the time management matrix on the chat group. All right, let's look at it now. All right, you can see there are 4 quadrants. 4 quadrants. One quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4? I want to look at it. All right, you can see it. Great. So you can see quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me remind you again. You see this time management thing, it's so slippery. Before you know it, you start working from your list. Before you know it, you're losing control. Before you know it, you're getting confused. Before you know it, you're asking yourself, what am I even doing now? What am I doing? What am I doing? Yet you have so many things. If you constantly have a sense of being overwhelmed by too many things to do, it's because you are not managing your time well. You're not planning well. You're not using time management. You're not using time management principles. You're not using to-do lists. You're not organizing things by priority. Right? That's why you feel overwhelmed. You always feel in a hurry. I have to do this. 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 You understand what I'm saying? You always feel like you have too many things to do. More things to do than time you have means that you are disorganized. Right? That's what it means. More things to do than the time you have means you are disorganized. Okay? So he has 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Quadrant 1 is the quadrant that we should seek to live in. That is Valletta from quadrant 4, really. Quadrant 4 is the quadrant of things that are not urgent and not important. You can see, do you understand how the quadrant is arranged? Or the quadrants are arranged? Quadrant 4 is things that are not important and not urgent. I always say, look at the things that are listed there. Trivia, busy work, all right? Some mail, some phone calls, time wasters, gisting with somebody here and there, all right? Getting on social media, pleasurable activities, watching a movie, and things like that. Quadrant 4 is a quadrant of unserious people. So every time you find yourself in that quadrant, come and tell yourself, start saying, I'm not an unserious person. I have no business in this quadrant. All right. Every time you find yourself in that quadrant, tell yourself, I'm not an unserious person. So I'm leaving this quadrant fast. I'm leaving this quadrant sharp. Yeah, Pastor, you're good to see you. More things to do than the time I have means I am disorganized. All right? All right, because you must believe that you have enough time to do everything that you need to do. And sometimes once you put yourself under pressure, you can't realize what you can really do. I mean, these are serious thoughts. Anyway, quadrant 4 is the quadrant of unserious people, or the quadrant of unseriousness. Let me say it that way. The quadrant of unseriousness, trivial things, busy work, just doing one thing or the other, activity without without accomplishment, just doing things, without being intentional. That's quadrant 4. All right. Quadrant 3, on the other hand, is the quadrant of things that are not important but urgent. Quadrant 3 is things that are not important but are urgent. A call is coming in. I always say that, you don't have to pick every call. You don't have to pick. You are not under obligation in any way to pick a call when it's coming in. You are not under obligation to answer a text message when it comes in. You are not under obligation to answer an email when it comes in. All right? But when it's coming in, it puts you under pressure and it makes you feel like this is an urgent thing that you need to attend to. All right? Never put important things at the mercy of urgent things. All right? So, quadrant 3, you have not important things and urgent things. Urgent and not important things. Examples, interruptions, some calls, some mails, some reports, all right? Some meetings. There are meetings that waste your time, all right? And that's why if you're leading a meeting, go to that meeting with a plan, all right? You must know when you're starting the meeting, when the meeting is going to end. You must have an idea of what, and if you're in a meeting and it seems to be drifting, you can politely begin to bring everybody together and tell them, okay, so what are we doing next now? Without being pushy or without being aggressive or being rude, you can begin to channel the meeting, help them to just focus on that meeting, or else they waste your time. All right? Meetings, pressing matters, popular activities, scrap and rework. All right? Things that are just constantly putting you under pressure. All right? Quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is the quadrant. Or let's go to quadrant 1 first before quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is where we want to be. All right? Quadrant 1 is the quadrant of crisis. The quadrant of urgent and important things. Urgent and important things. All right, when you begin to fall ill because you have not taken care of your health, that's quadrant 1. Crisis, pressing problems. Problems are coming up in your business because you've not taken time to plan. Your marriage is falling apart. All right, because you have not taken time to plan and to think, and to organize. Major scrap and rework, deadline-driven projects and things like that. All right, quadrant 1 is a quadrant of crisis. You don't want to be in that quadrant. Now, the more you stay in quadrant 2 is where we want to be. The quadrant of important things that are not urgent. That's where we want to be. Okay? In that quadrant, all right, it seems like you are not under pressure to do anything there. Eating healthy, exercising, planning your business, spending time with your spouse. If you're a Christian, and we're all Christians anyway, praying, fasting, meditating on the word, all right, doing all those things, investing in building ministry work and all that. All those things don't seem urgent, but they're very, very important. So you want to be in quadrant 2. You want to spend more time in quadrant 2 and not in all these other quadrants. All right? That is so important. That is so crucial. Now, still talking about priority, there is the ABCD strategy for, I think I'll begin to round off now. I think you guys have gotten more than what you paid for. I'm just joking now. All right, so let's talk about the ABCD rule of organizing things in your life. You see, this subject of time management can be very boring. Some people can find it very boring. It can be very abstract and very boring. It doesn't seem so exciting, but the boring things of life are the most important things, really. So you must train yourself, train your mind to do boring things. All right, so you have the A list. A list are things, all right, things that must be done. Things that are very important, that are serious and have serious consequences of not doing them. That is, if you don't do them, they have serious consequences. So A list, that is, after you have written your list, your daily to-do list, you now need to write A or B or C against every item on that list. Is that clear? Write A or B or C against every item on that list. All right. Yeah. Write A or B or C or D, and I'm going to explain what A, B, and C and D, what they mean. What do they really mean? Okay. A talks about things that you must do. All right. Place an A next to the item on your work list or your to-do list that it is urgent and important. It has serious consequences for completion or not completion. All right. If you have several A tasks, organize them by importance by putting them A1, A2, A3. Write A1, A2, A3 next to each item. When you begin to work, you start from A1 and then you go to A2 and A3 and A4 and on like that. All right. B list. B list should include things that you should do. Things that you should do. All right. B is things that you should do. All right. They have mild consequences for not doing them. Never do a B task before you do an A task. Never do a B task and leave task A undone. That is completely against time management principles. The C list, C stands for things that it would be nice for you to do, but they are not as important as A or B tasks. C things stand for things that it would be nice for you to do them, but they're not as important. That is nice for you to do it. You know, it would be nice for you to call that friend. It would be nice for you to, you know what I'm saying? It would be nice for you to do these things, but they're not, it is not a must. There are no serious consequences for not doing them. Then D things, right? D is a very important one. D things are things that you must delegate, things that you should delegate. Now listen, one of the laws of time management is if it is possible to delegate something, make sure you delegate it. You need to write that down. If it is possible to delegate anything, listen, your time is your most precious asset. Your time is your most precious resource. So if it is possible for you to delegate that thing, by all means, you must delegate it. You must. All right. If it is possible for you to delegate it, you must delegate it. You know why? Because when you do that, it frees up your time to do the things that you cannot delegate. There are things that you cannot delegate. You know, there are things you cannot delegate. If you are married, for example, you can't delegate. You can't tell. There can't be any assistants helping you spend time with your spouse. And if you permit me, you can't delegate. You know, having intimacy with your spouse. There can be no assistance in that place, in that area. You can't delegate that. All right. So anything that is possible to delegate must be delegated. All right. The last one is E, which is eliminate. E for eliminate. E for eliminate. Eliminate anything that is possible for you to eliminate. There are many little tasks that creep into your daily list that you can eliminate completely, and it will make no difference at all to anyone or to you or to anyone else. All right. Let me say one more thing before I begin to round off. There's something called, this is not, there's still a lot about time management. This is just like an introduction. There's something called priorities or posteriorities, meaning that for you to start something new, there are things, you must always be looking for things that you need to stop. Are you still with me? You must always be looking for things that you need to stop, things that you need to discontinue. Always look for things that need to be discontinued. That is, I'm not doing this thing again. Do you understand? Let me ask you, are there things in your life that you know that I need to stop this thing? It's an activity that you have been involved in, but when you analyze it from the lens, or when you analyze them from the lens of time management or priorities, you find that I need to stop these things. Before I round off, I want to hear from you about that. Are there things in your life that you need to stop? That this thing really, when you really think about it, is not adding real value to your life? Are there things like that? All right. Things that are not adding real value to your life. When you analyze it very well, if I stop this thing, will heaven fall? Is anybody going to die because I stop this thing? All right. That's what is called posteriority. Because if you don't stop that thing, you will not be able to do something else that is more important. You will not be able to do something else that is more important. All right. All right. Let me talk about one more thing quickly or briefly before I round off. Oh, two more things actually. Two more things quickly. But I will just mention I'll just mention this one. Deadlines. All right. Anything you are doing, always work with deadlines. What did I say? Deadlines. Write it down. Everything you are doing, work with deadlines, or you will just keep on continuing the task forever and ever and ever and ever. All right? Always work with deadlines. Always work with deadlines. All right? Always work with deadlines. Always work with deadlines. All right? That's the next point. That's point. What number is that? I think I've lost I've lost count of the keys. Someone remind us of what number that is. Deadlines. Work with deadlines. Deadlines are important. Never do anything without a deadline. That is, when am I going to complete this task? Everything that has a beginning must have an end. All right, 11. Wow, 11. That's a lot. 11. Deadlines. Deadlines. All right. And if somebody is working with you, never just give them tasks. Always give them deadlines. This thing must be completed. This thing must be submitted. This report must be submitted by this time. All right. I call it a forcing system. It forces you to manage your time better. When you have a deadline, you don't waste time because you have a deadline. If you worked in structured environments, they're always working with deadlines. Why? Because someone that was working in the bank told me one time, he said, by the time you see what you have to do, you yourself will begin to set deadlines for yourself. That's just paraphrasing it. By the time you see the amount of work you have to do, you begin to set deadlines for yourself. All right, so set deadlines, set for others. If they don't set it for you, set it for yourself. It will help you to be more effective. It's a very powerful tool. All right, the next one, I'll give you two more now. The next one is to be accountable. Very, very, very. The reason some people never grow or they never be accountable, go for paid trainings, don't go for free things. Usually when something, especially when it comes to personal development, all right, one of the major keys to personal development is for you to be accountable to someone. We're all Christians, right? One of the major reasons some people will never grow is that they have not submitted to someone to disciple them. In the same way, when it comes to a skill that you are trying to acquire, you're trying to be better, you're trying to grow, if you don't get accountable to someone, you will never grow. It's just as simple as that. You need to make yourself accountable. There's a degree of accountability that is required for you to really grow, right? So get yourself accountable, put yourself in check, put yourself under pressure, so to speak. Good pressure, there's bad pressure. All right, accountability has a way of putting you under pressure. When you know I have a deadline, someone puts you under pressure for this deadline, you know, things that you need to do. All right, being accountable means that you put a structure in place where somebody helps you to do something that you know you have to do. You know you have to do it, but you don't do it. Many believers know they have to pray, they don't pray. They know they have to fast, they don't fast. They know they have to spend time in the Word, they don't spend time in the Word. That is why discipleship is very powerful. All right, and that's why mentorship and accountability is very, very important. So when it comes to time management, we also need that. All right, the last thing I want to say is know how to manage, eliminate time wasters. Identify, that's the last point I'm going to make. All right, identify and eliminate time wasters. Identify and eliminate time wasters. Identify and eliminate time wasters. All right, identify and eliminate time wasters. Examples of time wasters: telephone interruptions. You can write your own example. Can you write examples of time wasters? Your time wasters are your biggest enemies. They're the biggest enemies to your life and destiny. Time wasters, telephone interruptions. All right, unexpected visitors. Unexpected visitors. Someone that just say, I'm at your door now. Please don't do that. Anytime you need to go visit somebody, please call them. Call them ahead, send them text messages, and let them respond before you start going. Don't tell them I sent a text message to you and you didn't get a response from them. Not getting a response from them may mean that they don't want you to come. Do you understand? So don't interrupt people and don't expect others, don't allow others to interrupt you. Why? Because your time is your resource. You don't allow anybody to take your time from you violently. If they're taking your time from you, they're taking your life from you. They're taking little bits of your time or little bits of your life. All right, because time is life. All right. Meetings. Meetings that have no agenda, meetings that have no beginning or ending. Meetings are like Melchizedek. I know you know what Melchizedek is. Melchizedek has no beginning or end. All right, that you're just flowing. The real substance of that meeting is not there. All right, the real substance of the meeting is just not there. Okay. Firefighting and emergencies will waste your time. Crisis. Procrastination, that's another subject entirely. Procrastination. Socializing, idle conversation. All right. Indecision. Inability to say this is what I'm going to do. That's another time waster rather. Call from family members. How do you handle that? You can always call them back later. There's something called bunching, or it's called it's called what's the expression now? Time development curve or something like that. Growth curve. It's called a growth curve. What does that mean? That is everything you have that look alike. If you're getting calls, you don't have to pick them. All right, you can now bunch everything together and create a time that you make all the calls that you need to make. That is, you don't make calls, go back to writing emails or go back to organizing something, and then you're all over the place. You are disorganized. All right, so allow those calls to go, except they're urgent calls. Maybe someone is calling you, your son is calling you from school, things that you know, calls from people that you know. There must be something. That's why they're calling me. All right, but there are certain calls you just leave them, and you now bunch it together later. You now make all the calls at the same time. All right. Very, very important. All right, procrastination. All right, any other thing that you have identified as time wasters? Some say social media. All right, social media. If you are going there to play, if you are going there without a plan, if you go to social media with a plan, that is, you want to go post something, you want to sell, that's not time wasting. But if you are just generally browsing, you know what it means to generally browse. That's what time wasting. You're not looking for anything in that sense. You're just browsing and just moving around. WhatsApp, checking people's status. All right, Faith. Very, very interesting. Some people spend all their time checking status and things like that. Okay, family in this. TV. All right. So I'm going to stop here. If you have questions, you can ask on the chat group. I'll use voice note to respond on the chat group, but I'm going to stop now. I believe you've learned. I want someone to put everything together, all the points, all the keys to all the steps to time management. Put it together and just post on the group. Thank you very much. I hope you learned, and you'll be better at time management. You'll be a better manager of your resource, your greatest resource, which is your time. God bless you.
Thank you for listening to the powerful message of growth, hope, and greatness. We trust you've been blessed by it. To listen to more power-packed messages from the Dominion House, log on to www.dominionhouseng.org. You can also follow our social media pages at the Dominion House NG on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We look forward to receiving your feedback and testimonies via any of our platforms. Stay supernaturally empowered.